I find myself trying to defend this program and almost to the point where I'm selling it. I will tell you, I'm advocating for this. I want this to go through because in my heart, I believe this is the best option we have available for our future. But I don't want to turn this discussion or any other public discussion into I'm trying to sell you on something. I'm trying to give you information. So if we could keep it just to questions, nobody likes to pay more taxes, so we get that. So if your question has to be, why do I have to pay more taxes? It's kind of a waste of all of our time because nobody wants to pay more taxes. Mr. Dorsey?
You know, you asked if you're looking for money. I came down several months ago and gave to all of you how much we're paying for certified officers compared to other cities. We pay more to the sheriff for a certified officer than any city that has a contract. Just between South Bay or Royal Palm Beach, one we would save $11 million for the same officer. The other would be $6 million. That would pay a lot of roads. All we got to do is start negotiating. Now, to go out and tell the public that I've seen in the paper that you cut the sheriff's budget by 10% is baloney because you're paying more this year than you paid last year. So give us straight facts and let's go out and do some things like that and we'll have money to do some of these things.
Ms. Squire?
I have to tell you, I appreciate all the hard work and the expense that goes into this. But I don't think you're going to get the response you want from the people because it isn't our ideas. These were made up by staff, it was then presented to you, and now, yes, you must sell it because that's the only way it's going to go over. I didn't hear about his ideas. John has business ideas. Mr. Tim was slapped down in the public by somebody from the dais. Tears were pouring out of my eyes of the disrespect. We have ideas, but they're not here. One thing we need to understand is in 100 years, you didn't figure out that when you open up a road, you do everything at once. We have bigger problems than that. And didn't we take our budget from about $1 million a year down to $500,000 for maintenance? See, government's proper role is not economic development. The free market takes care of that. Your job is to provide a level and fair playing field. So when you say that you have to build it and they will come because that's where the money's going to be, it's not your job. Your job is boring. It's roads, it's sewer, it's lights, it's all that stuff. So when you take care of that first, then if we want extras, ask us to pull bond money for that. I bet we could do fundraisers and something different. But there aren't many questions here because each of you stand up and knock everybody down in what they've said because it's your story and you're sticking to it, but it's not ours. So until we get it right, that we the people come like an artist in our artist community with a blank canvas. My ideas are not up there. There's a gentleman from Stewart who I've told you guys since we did the beach, you specifically. He has a system that makes roads and cement and sidewalks last way longer. I tried to get it through Reg, I tried to get it through William Waters since August of 2010. So when you tell me that you like my ideas, I'm actually quite offended, and people need to know because I'm so verbal and I do have solutions, but I'm always spanked and pretty much told, you know, those guys, they got to get it on the ballot. The plan is done. They're going to sell it to you. That's it, guys. There are other ideas. Adrian Wiley, 100% homestead tax. Start taking it out of the sales tax where you promote businesses and people don't rent their properties that they paid for. One of my insurances in 09 was $500. It is now $4,000. Thank you very much. I'm done.
Yeah, I'm just wondering why you can't justify the infrastructure at our beach when we own that property up there, but you can justify spending a minimum of $11 million up to $17 million is what you want at the Park of Commerce where we don't own that property. That doesn't make any sense to me. The other thing is you mentioned about not having any debt in the city. We have tons of debt in the city. We owe over $54 million right now on the electric bond that we took out in 2004. It's been refinanced. It's still, taxpayers are paying this. It's a big debt. We have unfunded liabilities of $88 million. But right now you want to burden the taxpayers with $63 million more. That's another $120 million that we're going to have on the books that these people are all going to owe out here. How can you justify that? And then you say there's 34% poor people, but you think everyone should be paying the same assessment. How can you do that to poor people?
Well,
How
let
can
me
you?
ask you a question. If the contention of the room is it should be an equitable distribution or divvying up how we pay for this, so what you're saying is equitable to whom?
Equitable is not fair. A poor person paying the same thing as a wealthy person. So don't give me that kind of
Okay,
stuff.
well-
The only fair is ad valorem, if you want to make it fair.
But if they don't own.
But burdening the taxpayers with $120 million worth of debt is certainly not
All
fair
right,
to
let me go
anybody.
back to your first question about the beach.
Yeah, answer.
If you told everybody up front how much the beach was gonna cost, up front, we're not having this
We
conversation.
have the money for infrastructure in the capital
That's the
improvement plan.
justification.
Can we stick to this plan?
Okay.
You guys are going off.
He brought it up.
Well, it's a
I can
fact.
speak to it, he
It's a
brought it
fact.
up.
It's a fact.
People's meeting, you can say what you want.
Here's my problem. My problem is, we're a city that takes in $5.5 million a year in taxes.
Yes, sir.
The mayor said at the State of the City address that it costs $31 million to run the city. So we're a city that takes in $5.5 million. Where do we get the rest of the money just to survive? Okay? We get a sum of money about approximately close to $15 million that comes in from the sales tax revenue the state gives us in those functions. And then gets us up to around $15, $16 million. And then we have another $15 million we gotta come up with. And that comes from the city's tax through our utility bills. That's how the city has screwed us
Yes.
year after
Yes.
year after year.
Price gouging.
Now my question is, we need that utility money to survive, and I don't have a problem with that. But I do have a problem with the house analogy, because you said we're a house that has a roof that's broken. Okay, now if I am dirt poor and I got a bad roof, I have some choices to make. I have to fix the roof, or my house is gonna get full of mold and the whole thing is gonna be destroyed. So I call a contractor and I fix the roof. But I can also decide, well, since I'm fixing the roof, I might as well put in a new electrical system. I might as well put in a new plumbing system. Maybe I should also paint the whole house, fix it up really beautiful, but I don't have any money to pay the loan back. What am I gonna do? So now you tell me that you're basing the $3.45 mill on a formula. And the formula is based on the fact that property values will continue to increase at a very conservative rate of 4%. We all know that when you go out and borrow money, you gotta pay it back. If the property values don't increase, if we get hit with a double-digit recession, the bank doesn't care what it costs. We gotta pay the money back. So the $3.45 that you're telling us it's gonna cost is not an inset stone number. That number can change. And God forbid we have a double-digit recession, this city each year has to figure out, well, how do we pay the loan interest back? Well, guess what, folks? We're really, really sorry, but it's been a bad year. You know every community is suffering, so we're gonna have to hit you with, instead of a $200 amount, whatever. So my question is the $3.45 guaranteed?
No.
Or is it really a number that can go to any number it costs to pay back the loan?
Make no mistake about this. The items in this program are not something staff whipped up. It's based on engineering work that has assessed the infrastructure needs. We're not going out buying big swaths of parkland. It's not a let's fix the whole house and make it house beautiful. This is a lot of meat and potatoes infrastructure work that you use every day that runs the city. That's why it's pared down to this amount. It started out, at one point, we threw everything on the table, and it was laughable the amounts we came up with. It just wasn't even doable. But there was a huge consideration of those kinds of issues. This is very much a meat and potatoes formula, but you are not approving or disapproving on the ballot a millage rate.
Right.
You are approving or disapproving borrowing an amount. And the millage rate is set each year based on the valuation base that we work against to make that debt payment. So we had to use a formula. 4% seemed conservative in this approach to project out what the millage rate could be. The valuation base could grow a lot faster. We could